in the
Let's
United
go.
States have had 10 or more sexual partners.
Okay.
Compare that to only 2% of women in the
Okay.
1970s. Are 30% more likely to get divorced. More disappointingly, women with multiple premarital partners are significantly less likely to stay married after 5 years. And look at trends over time. The number of women engaging in premarital sex has increased from 47% in 1954 to 77% in
That don't
2000.
surprise me.
And if that isn't dismal enough, 65% of women regret casual sex.
The time, the only reason a woman regrets casual sex is because one, she's being shamed by every fucking body for doing it. That's like the biggest thing. And two, it could just be because she realized the guy wasn't worth it, or she realized the guy's a piece of shit, or was just using her. So that's normally why they regret it. They don't regret it because, like, they don't regret it because, like, deep down, they know there's some terrible person for having sex with this person. Like, no. No matter who she fucks, that doesn't make her a terrible person, unless it's children. But other than that, it doesn't make her a terrible person. She could have fucking 20 orgies, one right after the other. Doesn't mean she's a terrible person. She never will be. And as far as that goes, I'm sorry.
That women with one or fewer premarital partners have higher levels of satisfaction within their marriage. Our
I
society.
love how she's. See, this is how you know this is all pandering to men, just trying to feed into their delusion. She didn't once bring up men, by the way. Men, they have the same exact problems when it comes to sexual partners. The more sexual partners a man has, the more likely he is to get divorced. Literally, it's the same exact effect that it has on
Celebrates
women
women
as
for
on
their
men.
sexual liberation, but nobody took the time to ask at what cost. The uncomfortable truth?
Society doesn't celebrate women for sexual liberation. Society literally shames and fucking ostracizes women for their sexuality, for their sexual freedom. What are you talking about? You guys literally are on the internet every single fucking day how talking about what women are doing with sexually, their sexuality. It's fucking crazy. It's so crazy and sickening, like how concerned y'all are, like how obsessed y'all are about this.
Is that there is a very real link to one's sexual promiscuity as a predictor of future relationship outcomes. And before I get into it, I want to know what you think. Do you think Owen's body count
Look,
matters? Or
you guys see that? So sad. God, this is so sad. Okay, men, does a woman's body count matter? If it's an automatic no, if so, why? And if not, what matters most to you when pursuing the women? 91%. Yes, it does. That's concerning as fuck. Y'all need to get over this. And you guys want to know why this is? It's called pair bonding. It's because men pair bond 10 times as much as women do. Quite literally. Men have way stronger pair bonding connections than women do as far as men compare men pair bond a lot more strongly to the women than the women does the man because women don't have to pair bond to the man technically. Um, hold on, we'll go into it, but you see that's sad. Men, if you care about a woman's past body count, you need to get over it. That is a very big weird insecurity. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to get over that. And, it's not men's fault that they would believe this because they have tons and tons and tons of other men literally feeding them this. And then you have dumb women like her and other dumb women who are coming on here trying to feed into this delusion too, who are literally fucking trying to make this a thing when it's just not a thing.
my audience why a woman's body count matters? Well, the majority of the responses alluded to pair bonding in their past. Studies on pair bonding suggest that our ability to form deep emotional connections can be influenced by our sexual history. Now, if you don't know what pair bonding is, it's a biological phenomenon. Hormones like oxytocin, released during intimacy, pregnancy, breastfeeding, and childbirth, enhances trust and strengthens emotional bonds. However, studies suggest that the release of oxytocin with multiple sexual partners reduces its effectiveness, and this will inevitably impact future relationships. Now,
Okay, this is how dumb people are in believing this lie. This is why I was like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense when I first heard it. She just said, okay, originally, the reason they even noticed pair bonding was when women were breastfeeding, okay? She just said right there, when it comes to breastfeeding, when it is cuddling baby, and having sex or whatever, there is oxytocin released or whatever. So she's saying because that oxytocin is released, that every sexual partner a woman has reduces its effectiveness. Okay, well, riddle me this, Batman. How the fuck? So you're telling me that after every time a woman breastfeeds her child, she's damaging or harming her what?
childbirth enhances trust and strengthens emotional bonds. However, studies suggest that the release of oxytocin with multiple sexual
So
partners.
basically, every time they breastfeed, it's reducing their oxytocin effectiveness to where they can't pair bond with their other children. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Because again, the release of oxytocin is formed is done through sex and breastfeeding, shit like that. So if it's done through breastfeeding, okay, a woman's body, first of all, can't really the effectiveness of oxytocin can't really be reduced in a woman's body. There can maybe be receptors in there that are blocking it, but you can't really be reduced because women produce so much oxytocin on its own because that's how our milk is created in our body and shit. So, no. Point blank period. This answers right here. No, having a bunch of past sexual partners does not affect a woman's pair bonding effectiveness effectiveness or experience. It does not affect it. No, it doesn't. Because if that was the case, then most moms would not be able to pair bond with their second or third children because they've already had a pair bonding experience with their first children. And you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the same exact thing, idiots. It's literally the same exact thing. Um, the same exact thing. Her fucking, I'm not gonna say it's like her having sex, it's not, but it's the same exact bonds, the same exact chemicals are released when she's breastfeeding her child. It's the same as when she's having sex with a man. So, no, that wouldn't work. Stupid. That's obviously not a thing because women don't lose their oxytocin's effectiveness with feeding their child twice as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't work like that. Okay, that's obviously impossible. And I wanted to explain to you pair bonding is a lot more of a serious, and this is why men care about it a lot more than women do, is because, it's so funny because these guys will be the first ones to say, back in the day, whatever, women choose these emperors or whatever, like 17 to every one man or some shit, and they'll be like, especially if you watch Rollo Tomassi, he's dumbass, he's always talking about how, you know, women had to be able to move on. Like they'll say this all the time. How come women move on from relationships so fast? How come it seems like women can move on so fast? They always will be like, well, it's evolutionary because, when like rulers or whatever would come in and rape and pillage the villages, they would take the women and the women had to adapt and learn to disconnect her emotions from the guy she was with because he gets killed off or whatever. They literally say this all the time. They literally believe this. But yet women women pair bond stronger to where they can't get over their pair bonding or they can't have other pair bonds with other people as much because of that. Like, no, no, it's stupid. It doesn't work like that. See, women automatically pair bond. Women automatically naturally will pair bond with as soon as they have a child. Men, however, will not automatically pair bond unless they start having sex with a woman, and especially if she makes him come in some way, she makes him orgasm, he is going to be pair bonded to that woman automatically. Okay? There is nothing he can do to prevent it because all these hormones that they say are released in women's bodies, it's actually released in men's body. She tries to say later on that vasopressin affects them more than oxytocin and shit. Even if it was, it still doesn't take away the effect of oxytocin and shit. Okay? So that means men have a very big problem with becoming pair bonded when they have sex with somebody. This is why men are so bothered by body count, by past previous partners. Why is this, guys? It's because men pair bond a lot more strongly than women do. Okay? Because women don't have to pair bond with a man. They just have to pair bond with the children to make sure the children survive. And men have to pair bond with the mother and the children to make sure the children and him survive. You get that, or him to stay having access to her and to survive. So yeah, the reason men are so freaked out about this subject or whatever, so adamant about this subject, even though men literally seem to be the ones who are more affected by pair bonding and who pair bond stronger and can't seem to detach their pair bonding experience from a person, women can move on pretty quickly because they've had to in the past, in evolutionary psychology. In the past, women had to move on quickly, so it wouldn't make sense for the women to be pair bonding with the men. It would make sense for the women to be pair bonding with the children because she can't help that when she's breastfeeding. I mean, it's just an automatic thing. Just like for men, it's when they have sex, it's an automatic pair bonding experience. Women, however, on the other hand, and when they're having sex, it's not an automatic pair bonding experience. I mean, I guess maybe it can be slightly because there are maybe some of the hormones that are released during just the actual physical, whatever, saying back and forth and having sex. But the next biggest and most obvious reason why I know this pair bonding shit is bullshit is the fact that what's funny is they talk about these oxytocin and all this shit has to be released. I don't know if y'all realize, but in order for that to be released to the extent that they're talking about, to where you pair bond with somebody, that person has to ejaculate, or that person has to be able to climax. Okay. Most women, how much is it, guys? At least like 50 to 70% of women never climax during sex ever. Like, unless it's sex with another woman or they're using toys or something. Most women do not climax with men during sex. On the average, like literally, the average woman almost never fucking orgasms when she has sex with men, like at any time. I mean, there's some that can, and there's some that do or make themselves, but most women kind of can't. I can't that often. It's very rare that I can. Um, so automatically right there, women don't pair bond like that because women don't be climaxing like that. See, and that's what I love is they think women always get these strong pair bonds or whatever, and it's like, no, y'all do because you guys come. Yes, you guys get that pair bonding experience. Women don't because they don't come like that or they don't climax like that. So women don't have those same feelings and experiences as the men do. Okay, at all. The men are getting like full doses of it that they can't fucking control. And that's why they get so obsessive and shit. And that's just like, okay, and you know how the pair bonding shit, this is how it really shows you just how much men end up pair bonded to a woman. Because think about when a woman has her new baby, okay? Think about when she's sitting there breastfeeding a baby. I know a lot, and I'm talking way too fucking many, a lot of men who get like mad about that. And they end up getting super jealous of their child because their woman's showing the child so much attention and shit. You guys want to know why he's so bothered by that? Because that breastfeeding specifically, that's oxytocin. She's pair bonding with her child. So he's jealous because she's pair bonding with somebody other than him. You get what I'm saying? This is why men get so fucking jealous of their children, of their babies when they're babies, and the wife is having to pay extra attention to them. This is why they get so fucking jealous, is because they see that you're pair bonding with another human being that's not them, so they get insecure and they feel threatened. So, they start lashing out. It shows you just how strong of correlation of pair bonding has with men. You don't see women doing this that often. It's very rare you see a woman complaining saying that, I mean, there's some out there, I'm wrong, but it's very rare. You don't see and hear mass amounts of stories about women getting jealous that their husbands hanging out with their children and shit. It's very rare. Why do you think men are so quick to try to coach men to have sex with all these women? This is exactly why men are so fucking adamant about this whole they can have as many sexual partners as they want. The reason they're doing that is because they're afraid to be vulnerable with women. The only way they can make sure that they're not vulnerable with women is by trying to destroy their fucking pair bonding receptors. Their receptors in their fucking brain that, connect oxytocin, dopamine, and all this shit to pair bonding. They are literally trying to kill off the pair bonding receptor so they never have to actually be open to a woman or be vulnerable to a woman or have to accept a woman's help. That's all that is. It literally is all that is. That's the reason men are so obsessed with trying to sleep with every single woman. It's because they hate the fact that they get so vulnerable and so attached to women. So they figure, well, if I sleep with all these women and maybe I can destroy these receptors, they can't turn them off. And they're very, very strong when it comes to men. Way more stronger of an effect than it does for women, and it's connected a lot more sexually than it is for women. Women don't experience pair bonding sexually that often.
But it's important
Men
to point
always
this out.
experience pair bonding through sex. Always.
Now, it's important to note here that women specifically rely heavily on oxytocin for bonding, whereas men rely primarily on vasopressin, which is a hormone associated with territorial and protective behaviors in a relationship. Likely why many men say that they feel responsible for a woman when they fall in love with her. But it's important to point this out. The hormonal difference here means that women may experience deeper attachment than men do when it comes to sexual intimacy.
No, baby. It literally is the exact opposite. You really should study up on your shit because it wouldn't make sense for a woman to pair bond to some random male for no reason unless unless maybe he's the father and she's counting on him for protection for her and the child. But other than that, no, it wouldn't make sense. Okay, another thing that proves it, it's just like, you know how big guys are on cheating? Most people are against cheating, don't get me wrong. But guys have they're like very against cheating. Like, you know a lot more women that would stay with a guy who cheated than you know men that would stay with women who cheated, right? Why is this, guys? Well, one obviously has to do with the fact they don't want to be shamed by other men. Their biggest thing is they're just trying to impress other men for some reason. But if it wasn't for that, the only reason is because they know that they pair bond very strongly to those women.
Also, think about it's so funny because all this is so obvious, really, when you think about it. But a woman goes to cheat. What's the first thing a man asks her? They say this all the time to these guys in these podcasts. But what's the first thing they ask her? Did you sleep with him? Right? Did you sleep with him? What's the first thing women ask? Do you love her? Why is this, guys? It's because women pair bond more by being emotionally vulnerable and emotionally intimate with somebody. And when they can be emotionally vulnerable and express their feelings and still feel safe and loved and cared for afterwards, shit like that. That's what pair bonds women. Okay, that's why they ask, first thing they ask when a guy cheats is if you love her. That is also why some women say emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating. That's exactly why. Because women think men pair bond like women do through emotional intimacy and being vulnerable and stuff when they don't. They pair bond through sex. Now, what's the first thing men ask? Men ask, did you sleep with him? Well, why is this? It's because men think women pair bond just like they do. And so if you had sex with him, you're pair bonding with him. You get what I'm saying? That's how he sees it. He rationalizes it in his brain. Granted, it's also an ego thing and not wanting to be embarrassed or shamed by other dudes, but the biggest thing I think is it's a pair bonding thing. That's why they're so obsessed if you had sex with another guy, because sex for them is pair bonding. Even though for women it's not that. It's something different. So basically, women think men pair bond like they do, men think women pair bond like they do. And we pair bond different ways. I think that's also why men think women pair. I think I know why men think women pair bond stronger. I think it's because, see, women will sit there and say, a lot of women feel like this, that they need an emotional connection before they are physically attracted to a man. This would be the reason why. It's because why would she be, sexually attracted to you if she knows she can't pair bond with you? But if she gets to be emotionally intimate with you or whatever, then she knows she can pair bond, which would make her attracted. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's why men think women emotionally connect stronger. Then obviously they probably don't want to accept the fact that they are the ones who actually do, but during sex specifically. So yeah, I think this could be it on the subject for now. Y'all leave me your comments. What are your thoughts? I'm curious to know. Do you disagree? Tell me why in the comments. Alright, bye.